Happy Monday, and welcome back to the Resistance Broadcast. I'm John Hoey. Thank you so much for joining us today and being a part of the Resistance. We have a great show for you today, and we have our entire crew back on the podcast. A lot to talk about, including some solo deleted scenes. Timothy Zahn said some things, a bunch of your questions, and a lot of other stuff. So let's get into it first by, as always, saying hi to the crew. James Bainey, and back from Rose City Comic Con and her 3-year hiatus from the podcast, Lacey Gillerin. What's going on, guys?
I don't even want to take long to say hello to everybody. I just want to get to saying hi to Lacey. She is back, and I'm so excited to have her back.
Oh, you guys are so sweet. I was laughing because John was like, the entire crew is back. I was like, entire crew, it's just one person's missing. Hey, guys, I'm back. Yeah, I was super sick, guys. I was like dying. And then I left for 10 days in California. I worked Crunchyroll Expo and then Rose City. So it's been really crazy, but I'm back. And now I don't have to travel for a while.
And to be fair, I think there was a time in there where you probably could have done the podcast, but I had to take time off because of Johnny was born.
Oh, yeah, so baby.
Hey, welcome back, Lacey.
Thank you.
All right. So before we get into the Resistance Report this week, we do have, as always, the poll result. And we asked you guys, and some of you got mad at me because I didn't put one of these as a choice, but we said, what non-movie Star Wars canon do you always make sure to keep up with? And the winning vote was 52%. The TV series, like Clone Wars, Rebels, and I guess the upcoming Star Wars Resistance. The second place vote, 24% of you said the novels, 14% of you said none, just the movies, and 10% said comics. And as I mentioned, a lot of you were saying, well, how about all of it? Why wasn't that a choice? You know why it wasn't a choice? Because there's only 4 shots for choices on Twitter, and that's what I picked. So I apologize. But you had a chance to comment to voice those opinions, and you did. And our best comment went to Lane Casper at Lane_Casper, and he said, where's the option for all of it? So there you go, Lane. That was the most.
Yeah. I actually
was the most liked comment.
Tweeted this poll with that same thing. I was like, I don't understand what I'm supposed to push when it's equivalent, all of them.
James, we know you made all the accounts to make the 24% for novels. Don't lie.
Right.
No,
James Bainey 1, James Bainey 2, James Bainey 3.
I did actually choose novels though as a selection.
Of course you did. See,
well, the reason I did that though is because I think that whenever a new episode of a TV series comes out, I watch it immediately. And every time there's a new novel that comes out, I read it immediately. But I don't read every single Wednesday the comics. Sometimes I miss them. So I went with the deepest I could go while still telling the truth.
I should have just put most. So like, oh yes, I do them all, but this one is the one I do the most.
Yeah, maybe that would be the case.
And we're all still alive and we're all still here.
I'm also offended you didn't put fan fiction as an option because I'm pretty up-to-verse on fan fiction canon stories.
I should also put EU and Legends so we can bring all those people out who George Lucas doesn't care about. Yeah, we could have done that too. But yeah, so good times. Most of you people are down for the TV series, which makes sense because those are a lot of fun. And for the most part, are really just closely connected to the films, so I get it. All right, now, James, we do have a Resistance report this week, a bunch of things to get into, so let's fire it up, man.
It's the Resistance.
Our first story this week comes from Solo being released this last Friday on digital, so I assume that none of us have it because we're all Blu-ray people. But now that it is out, you guys are watching it. A lot of people have already probably seen it 15 more times than they did in the theater. And the only way that we're going to be able to get through this is by watching some of the stuff that they're using as promotional material to get us ready and purchase the Blu-ray and the digital and the versions that are out for home video, quote home video. But we got a couple deleted scenes this week to add on to last week's entourage of them, and the two that we got were Han Solo flying a crashing TIE fighter and then alternatively talking to his Commodore as he didn't know what it was, but he called him a moth, and pretty funny. We'll talk about that. And the other one was just a simple extended scene of Han and Chewie fighting with snowballs, and that came to us via the Star Wars show, who hardly gives us great material that makes it onto the show, just fun material in general, but this was actually kind of substantial. So let's throw it into the show notes. I'm going to jump over to you, Lacey, first, because you are back, and I'm excited to hear your opinions on stuff. What do you think of these deleted scenes?
I think they're really cool. They actually had this snowball fight at the end of the trailer that they gave us to play at Rose City, which we'll get into in a little bit, but I can repeat that trailer word for word. Because I watched it so many times. Even like the beats, it's like, dan it, dan it. And then he's like, I'm a driver, I'm a flyer. I got kicked out of the flight academy for having a mind of my own. But then they throw snowballs at the end. So I loved it. That was my favorite part of the whole trailer.
John, what do you think about the deleted scenes?
I really liked both of them. Obviously, the one with Chewie the most, just because I have a soft spot for Chewie. I'm literally looking at 2 action figures of Chewie I have on my desk here. The TIE Fighter one was pretty cool. It reminded me a little bit of Top Gun. I know you guys out there know I'm a Top Gun fan, but you have Han disobeying his orders, and then the Commodore literally calls him a maverick. So I don't know if that was like a little bit of a nod there, but he's like, if I didn't go this way, we would have been dead, and you can't think up there. And it just reminded me a little bit of Top Gun. But then the Han and Chewie thing, like, I thought about it. I'm like, man, Chewie looks a little like Goofy here, like literally like Goofy from Disney, like just like flopping around in the snow and stuff. But then he like tackles Han very lightly, and when you think about what Chewie's really capable of,
yes,
that's just him being like a gentle, like I can't hurt him. I have to just lightly.
He ripped a dude's arms off.
Yeah, so he's like, in other words, saying like, I'm gonna pretend Han even has a shot at this thing. So like, oh, I'm gonna fall down and gently on you though. And then I also thought of the snow fight in Dumb and Dumber when he just like smashes her face into the snow.
Before I give my thoughts on these deleted scenes, I want to take a sidestep real quick and just talk to you, John, one-on-one, really quick. What the heck is going on with Top Gun 2? Why did that movie get pushed back? What is going on? I need it. We need it. Get it together.
You know what? Maybe there's a new Scientology retreat happening, and Tom Cruise had to hit pause on filming.
I feel like it's not Tom's fault. Tom is all about being Maverick again.
You know what? It could be, honestly, it could be Val Kilmer, because he's still trying to get over the throat issues he was having.
He was at Rose City.
Or whatever. Was he there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to talk about that. I got to see how he's like, what he was like, and how his health is.
We'll get into Rose City here in a second. We'll go right back to Val Kilmer. Let me get my thoughts real quick on these, and I'm glad they're both not in the movie. Number one, the Han flying and crashing the TIE Fighter thing. The ship outside that is like his mothership. I hated that thing when they showed it, like in the toys. Like there's a toy of it. It just, this stupid satellite dishes thing, it's just so stupid. And I was glad to see that it never made it into the movie. And I see now it's in this deleted scene. The idea behind this scene is fine, but I felt like that's not how the Empire like handles things. It just would have been like, you're gone. There's no like jury trial. I don't know. That was weird too. I don't like how they needed to show Alden Ehrenreich's face. So this particular TIE fighter doesn't have any sort of shield over his face, that's annoying as well. I don't know. And then
what if he chose not to wear his standard helmet?
See, me and my friend talked about this, and I think that's the standard helmet, but what probably should have happened is something happens and then it causes his ship to kind of go off course. And as soon as that happens, like almost immediately, he pulls the helmet off. And then that could be like a violation, and it would fit in with Rio's whole like, you can't see in these things. I mean, he could have even later in the movie be like, I know, right? Like, I don't know. It could, all that stuff could have fit in together, and that would have felt like Han. It would have been another rule he broke, because that also fits in with episode 7. The other one, though...
So you didn't like it?
I didn't like it, yeah. The Han versus Chewie snowball fight, the only reason I think you say Chewie looks a little goofy, it's because it's not Chewie. It's Jonas, It's just, that looked to me like a gag reel clip, not a deleted scene. It just looked like the actors having fun on set.
No, I'm pretty sure it was a deleted scene.
It was a deleted scene. I'm saying the reason I'm glad it's not in the movie is because it feels more like a gag reel clip, because that doesn't feel like, it feels like Jonas. It doesn't feel like Chewbacca.
Maybe Chewie likes to have fun, James. Maybe Star Wars is about fun, James.
Chewbacca's idea of fun is ripping people's arms out of their sockets. All right,
Are you sure about that?
No, I'm
he
just
hangs out with
messing around.
porgs in Last Jedi.
Yeah, and then murders them and eats
Only
them.
one. Only that one time.
Okay, all right. No, but we had a really cool Star Wars thing happen here in America, I guess you could say, over in Rose City, Oregon, and I want to hand it over to Lacey to tell us a little bit about what was going on and how she worked with Lucasfilm directly to bring a lot of the cool stuff that Star Wars has to her convention.
Yeah, so I don't want to give away too much magic behind the scenes, but I'll tell you a little bit about what we had. So we had an official solo A Star Wars Story exhibit at Rose City this year. It's a project I worked on with Lucasfilm. It was really cool. We had basically all the main costumes except Chewie. Chewie was being worn by an actor somewhere else, so we didn't get him. But we had, I'm going through this in my head of how it's laid out, Enfys Nest, Lando, Val, Han Solo, Beckett, Dryden Voss, and Kira. And then we also had the Han Solo dice, a whole array of different types of currencies and sabacc cards. And then we had a model of the Millennium Falcon.
That's cool.
Yeah,
How
cool.
big was the Falcon model?
I'm holding my hands up to measure. Probably like 2 feet, 2 feet by 1 foot.
Mm-hmm.
They don't
And
use
was it
models anymore. It's only used for, excuse me. They don't use models anymore. They only use it for like promotion reasons. They use CG and stuff for models.
And Lacey, let me ask you this question in this type of voice. Ready? Did they let you try on the outfits?
No, they did not let me try on the outfits.
Oh.
Part of the process of shipping them to us, they take the items out of storage and they dress the mannequins and they ship the mannequins already dressed. So they are already put together by the time they arrive.
So the mannequins are already assembled?
What?
The mannequins are full body assembled?
Yep.
So they're shipping the mannequins in like little mannequin coffins?
No comment.
Oh my god!
They're already done. So all you have to do is put the weapons on and like little different things. Like Lando's necklace got put on after the fact, and stuff like that. And Enfys Nest's helmet gets put on after the fact. But all the all the items are already on the mannequin. It's really cool, but it's a very tedious, time-consuming activity, and I give total credit to Lucasfilm people like Madeline that have to do this all the time. It's very, very, very like detail oriented.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now, speaking of details, I do know some of this because I was watching the live blog on Star Wars Newsnet's Twitter. But
yeah, I met Kyle. Hey, Kyle.
Kyle Larson was there, and he was covering the story that we're getting ready to talk about here in a few minutes. But
good job, Kyle.
I do want to ask you, kind of on a personal note, what were I'll give it a number 3 of your favorite details of the costumes.
Well, all the costumes were super detailed. So we had an exhibit, as you guys know, at AwesomeCon as well for The Last Jedi. And while those costumes are amazing because Kylo was there, the costumes that came for Solo were about 20 times more detailed and had more parts and like crazy different things that for each one. And I feel like the costumes were more important in Solo only because they played into who the character was, whereas Last Jedi, you care more about the character than what they're wearing, so to speak. Do you know what I'm saying? So, part of who Lando is his outfit. So he had this crazy, like very, like, swagger top that was, like, bright yellow and this beautiful cape, and it had this wonderful stitching on the back. My favorite part of his costume was his gun. The handle has this like pearlescent, like moonstony inlay. It's like the most pimped out gun you have ever seen in your life. And it gets hidden. Yeah. It gets hidden because it's under his cape. But it's like one of those things, she like brought it out and showed it to me. And I was like, that literally is Lando's gun. It's like the most over the top. Like you would never think to put this on a gun. And it also comes with a silencer, which they don't have in the movie and they don't put out, but it does come with a silencer, which is pretty cool. I'm trying to think of who else. I mean, they're all really cool, but there's nothing in like Infant's Nest sneakers are really cool, which I didn't realize she was wearing sneakers until I saw her costume and then watched the movie again. A lot of the costumes have this like crazy fur, like lots of fur and leather, and they're just so legit. Like there's nothing fake about these costumes. They're real leather, real wool, and a lot of them are super heavy. So you don't like Infant's Nest's costume is so heavy that you don't know. I don't know how she was jumping around and like flying around in it and fighting in it because it's so heavy.
So let me ask you this: these were the costumes they wore for the movie, right?
Yeah, worn by the actors. Yep.
For any of the costumes that may stand out to you, when you saw the size of the costume, were you like, I'm surprised this person was that big or that small or anything like that?
Kira, right? Or Han, even. I remember.
So Val and Kira are super, super tiny, super, super skinny. No surprise. But, like, they're really tiny. Alden is super tiny. He's my height. He is my height. I had to hold the mannequin at one point so we could finish putting the stand on it, and his head is, like, maybe 2 inches above my head. So I'm about 5'4", 5'5".
5'5"?
Yeah.
Jeez.
He is a tiny man.
So he was wearing lifts, or they filmed him with certain angles, probably?
Probably certain angles, but he's definitely short. Because I was asking about it because for The Last Jedi, I hate to go back to this, but it's just such an exaggerated thing. Adam Driver's mannequin was gigantic. Like, my face came in between his pecs. Like, he's huge.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, exactly. So Alden is, like, super small. And then Dryden Voss is huge. He's huge. He's, like,
I think Paul Bettany's, like, 6'3".
Yeah, Paul Bettany's
he's tall.
known to be, like,
and
very
then,
tall.
Woody's pretty tall, too. Lando's costume had definite heels on it.
Yeah.
But he's a little bit bigger than Alden.
That makes sense, yeah.
It also is part of his character as well.
Infant's Nest is tiny. She's 14, so she's
the
little.
actress is 14?
Yeah.
Is she really?
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, that's what I was told.
Holy cow. All right.
14, 16, something in there. But, like, she's small. But she's
supposed to have
so
a child in the movie, isn't she?
No, James, you always say this. She never had a child.
Yeah.
She was just holding a little kid's hand for, like, solidarity.
Yeah.
You know,
anyway.
What's weird, too, is in the movie, it looked like a girl, and in the book, it said that she looked back and saw Han standing next to her boy. And I'm like, that's another confirmation that it's her child. And also, this time they said it was a boy. All right. Look, guys, if you want to hit me up and explain to me why I keep thinking this is a kid. It looks like your kid in the movie, and then also the book confirms that it's, I don't know. Anyway.
Well, also, just because the actress is a certain age doesn't mean the character is.
No, I understand that. I'm just saying, like, why do you cast a 14-year-old?
But James, more importantly, I had asked Lacey to bring me home the Gonk droid, and I received no such Gonk droid. So...
That was from the 501st and the droid builders. They had this awesome setup, and they had the one of my favorite droids. I don't know the technical name. I'm sorry, people listening, but it's the one that's in Return of the Jedi, which I remember being little and straight up laughing about this when they take the hot coals and they lower it and it's kicking its feet and it's like, no.
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. That's really bad that like young Lacey thought that was hilarious, but I definitely did. So when I saw it, I had this like nostalgic like, oh my God, that's the droid. They were awesome.
You had this instinct to burn its feet.
Yeah. No. I got this huge thing of patches from the 501st in Oregon, so shout out to them. Cool. They're really, really cool. Yeah, it was a great weekend.
For future reference, if anybody has an opportunity to go to any one of these like Comic-Con style things, especially if there's some Star Wars stuff there, it's a great time. Go do it. Go check it out. It's an experience on its own.
I thought you were going to say especially run by Lacey, and I was going to be like, hell yeah, James.
Well, if it's any good, it probably is run by Lacey, so.
Aww. You saved yourself.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all these cons that have like Awesome Con and there's other ones I guess she has coming up that I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about or whatever, but
Big Easy Con.
I'm sure Big Easy Con. Like anytime you see Star Wars, Lacey's the one who brings it there. So find Lacey and say thank you for bringing me the Star Wars, Lacey. And then she'll be
Yeah.
like, who told you to say that? And you'll say, John Hoey. And she'll be like, what an idiot.
What an idiot. My favorite part of the weekend was definitely seeing there were about 4 or 5 little kids in the exhibit, and there was this big screen at the end, which we got a video from Industrial Light and Magic, which has never been seen before, and it was behind the scene renderings and how they did like blue screen and green screen stuff. And these kids sat and watched this entire thing, and it was like 5 minutes long, and they were so locked in. I was like, this is what Star Wars is all about. These little kids are super pumped. I'm pumped. Also, John, I did miss you. I know it's in your headcanon. Missed you too, James.
Yeah. We
Can confirm.
We do have... I'm jealous of Kyle because he got to go to this, and that leads us into our next story.
I know you're jealous because you got to walk around with me. That's the real jealousy.
That is it. Timothy Zahn was at Rose City Comic Con as well. He did a little presentation there where he sat and was taking questions, talking a little bit about his novels and what it's like working with the Lucasfilm Story Group. And one of the more interesting things he said about the Story Group is that a filmmaker can override anything in the Star Wars universe canon. The Story Group will then take what appears on film and figure out how it fits into the rest of the canon. So I'm going to toss it to you, John. What do you think about this statement? Do you think this is a good thing, bad thing? Is this even true? Does Timothy Zahn know what he's talking about?
Timothy Zahn recently, as far as recent as 6 months ago, had a quote posted on some article on some site, and he got annoyed that he's like, I'm going to stop appearing at these things because they're taking my quotes and blah, blah, blah. So he's probably even more careful with what he's saying now. So I think, when he does speak on these things, he's making sure he's saying what he is supposed to be saying and that it's accurate so that if he is quoted...
he wouldn't say something like that if he
right.
didn't mean it.
So, I mean, I think this is great for several reasons. One, because obviously the films are king. I don't care what James Bainey says. They always have been, always will be. It is nice to hear clarification, though, on the fact that the power that the filmmakers as individuals have, because a lot of people think like, oh, it's puppet regime and Kathleen Kennedy, and they already wrote those stories for them, or even people who are crazier saying George Lucas wrote these stories and wrote these scripts. They aren't puppets. Rian Johnson wrote his movie. These are their stories, their characters to tell and shape, and that's, if we needed more proof, which we didn't, there's some right there from a novel writer who knows what goes on in terms of working with the story group, and the fact that the movies are paramount. They shape the overall canon, and everything falls in the cracks. And I dig it. I like that.
Lacey, do you agree with John on this? What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, some of the people that I know that are in Story Group tell me about how part of their job is to make sure everything fits and makes sense, and they're double checking things. And I mean, why wouldn't you give the filmmaker the ability to make it his or her own? Sorry. Yeah, it totally makes sense. I agree. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I think you guys are nuts.
Really?
Because, yeah, absolutely. I think that if that's in fact the case, then that kind of sucks. Like, it's totally fine if you want to say we're going to let this person take the reins, and if they run into something that doesn't make any sense, we're just going to steer them in the right direction. That's the problem with this statement. He's saying they're not steering him in the right direction. They're letting him go whatever the heck direction they want. If they want to bring back, I don't know, like if they wanted to bring back Darth Maul into Episode 9, even though we've seen him dead, like that's ridiculous. He was killed. So
I think it goes both ways.
No. I think it's already established in canon they can't do it.
I think sure?
I think what they're saying is, as long as it makes sense within already established canon, they can do what they want.
The story group is... the most interesting thing about the story group is that a filmmaker can override anything in the Star Wars universe canon. They can rewrite it. They can change it. They can do whatever the heck they want.
I don't know if that's exactly what he meant.
I think he meant maybe probably like tweaking it to their use.
I think override is a very interesting term there.
It is the wrong word to use, I guess.
All right. I don't have
agree.
a
You're
You're
problem
in trouble
with...
again, Zahn.
I'm just
I
saying.
agree, James. I agree with you. I think override is a
Okay.
very specific word to use.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the story room then takes it and figures out how it fits into the rest of the canon. I have no problem with that, right? If J.J. Abrams wants to write a story and he wants to say that Luke uses the Force to come back to life, they're like, all right, fine. I guess we'll just kind of have to explain that in a comic or something. But to say that something, I don't even know, like something that's so absolutely definitively done, you know, Admiral Ozzel is now the new villain. Like what? Like,
Well, James, what if like J.J. Abrams wants to resurrect a super shredder Darth Vader? And
but I mean, I think I mean, I don't know. It's just, it's weird to me that the term override was used, and I guess you guys are kind of conceding on that point. That's a little bit of an odd word. So, but that's all I really have to say about that. I think if they have the power, they have, and I'm choosing my words properly here, unlimited power.
yes,
then that's a little bit of a problem.
Unlimited power.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else really to talk about that, I think that just about wraps all the stories we got in the Resistance report this week. That's 3 things that we got to talk about that are Star Wars related, and that's a lot in this kind of slump of a news era that we're in. But I'm going to send it off to you, John, for the Scoundrels Rundown to talk about all those other great stories that we had come out this week.
Yeah, I don't have a rundown this week, man.
What?
Yeah. There's no punching it. I'm not hitting the punch it button this week. That's on the right side of the console.
You know what's going to happen?
Here it is.
I like
if
that.
the Resistance report was Star Destroyer, then Ask the Resistance is going to be Bespin, because we don't need the hyperdrive to get there.
What?
So, well,
I'm trying to put myself through this. It's like one of those memes with all the numbers in front of the face.
yes. Well,
Someone is yelling at you two because they're like, "Come on, guys."
News is slow. There's not a lot of news, so there's no rundown this week. There were a couple things I could have went over, but it's not a big deal. So, we can just head right over to your questions. The listeners, it's your turn. You get the stage now. So, Lacey, what do we have from the question vault this week in Ask the Resistance?
I've been wondering, what are midichlorians?
All right, it's that time again for Ask the Resistance. You've got questions, we've got answers, right, guys?
I forgot
Yep,
that was
always and forever, always and forever.
All right, so the first question comes from Ryan Simi at RyanScott00. And he says, another podcast I listened to, how dare you bring up someone else on our podcast, Ryan? I listened to just did a best of podcast over the last couple of years. It got me thinking, what have been some of your worst predictions for one of the new Star Wars movies? Oh, no.
Right.
Okay, John, I'm going to let you, Mr. I'm Always Right, go first.
You know what's funny is, so Ryan, and I think he pronounces his last name Syme, I think.
I like Simi. Ryan, you're Simi now. Legally.
But I love how he goes up. Another podcast I listened to just did a best of. So Resistance broadcast, tell me your worst predictions.
Could be the best worst predictions.
Yeah.
Can we do
all
one
right,
best, one worst, just to feel a little bit better about ourselves?
I have too many bests.
Just pick one, John.
All right, so my worst, at one point, I got a little, rabbit hole crazy in my own brain. At one point in early 2017, so almost a year before The Last Jedi came out, I had this wild theory I cooked up that, like the gif of Charlie in Always Sunny, where I'm just, all crazy, and I'm like, listen, here's the... So, it was that Leia was Rey's mom. I since ditched that theory, but for a little while I had it, and I was hanging on to it for a little while, trying to convince myself of it. But that was obviously my worst.
I love that you're I have to convince myself that this is true.
Yeah, my best was that Kylo Ren was going to kill Snoke. Well, I don't know about my best, but I predicted that he was going to kill Snoke in The Last Jedi. And I don't know.
Well
I'll get
done.
back to you.
James, what do you think?
if I give myself a little bit of time, I actually was thinking of more because I was having trouble coming up with one. I would say that just a couple quick ones too. I was like, Han and Kira will not kiss in Solo, and then in a matter of like, there's been like literally 3 words of dialogue in the movie, and they're already kissing, and I'm like, I'm gonna do terrible at our challenge. So that was pretty like right off the bat. They couldn't have kicked it off with me being wrong faster. Another one, I had an ongoing crazy theory that Phasma could potentially be Rey's mom. I thought it would make sense that she would have dropped her off because she needed to grow in the First Order. But this was all before the Phasma novel was out. We didn't know anything about her. And I just thought it would be kind of cool to go from like, no, there was more too, that she was also the daughter of Satine and Kenobi and stuff. And that was
I'm not going to lie, it's like, kind of comical that both your worst predictions are who are Rey's parents.
Well, no,
yeah, we should make a shirt about it.
I think my absolute worst was probably the fact that I pretty much guaranteed that it doesn't make any sense that they would destroy Starkiller Base in Force Awakens. And I was like, that thing is going to be around for all 3 movies, and it's going to that's what's going to be different about this trilogy is that the super weapon doesn't just get blown up in the first movie willy-nilly. It's actually going to set the pace for why the Resistance has to overcome this thing that clearly they've worked out all the kinks and they've had all the time to prep for it, and there's no way that you're just going to be able to fly in and blow it up. It's
right, and
going to be the thing that they
were
have
involved
to overcome
in its creation.
Yeah. So yeah, right. Exactly. So it's like I was so sure of that, and it was again like first movie. They're like, all right, let's just get in there and blow it up. Who cares? It's bigger. Whatever.
Oh my god.
All right,
Lacey, okay. I need a good one from you. By good,
best?
I mean worst.
Do you want best first or worst first?
Whatever.
Enfys worst.
Well, so worst
Ahmed
has to do with Enfys
best.
Nest, and it's because I thought that Val was Enfys Nest, and I went on about that for like 3 weeks.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I was like, guys, no, I swear, you never see them in the same scene. And then they had a trailer, and they were like, joke's on you, Lacey. They're in the same scene. And I was like, dang it. That was probably my worst prediction. My best prediction was probably Force Awakens. I said early on, I was like, Han is going to die. He's going to die so bad. And everyone was like, shut up, Lacey. You suck. And I was like, no, I'm serious. He's going to die. Although I thought he was dead when Rey was crying over a body, and it was not.
You know, it was that based on anything that like Harrison Ford was like, you should have killed off Han Solo.
Yep.
Was okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
I was like, there's no way this guy's going to want to be in this for another 3 movies. He wants out.
But he didn't want to be in any Star Wars, and he signed back on. So all of your thoughts should have been up.
Sometimes money's worth it, you know?
And Lacey, you're that same girl who thinks Kerry Russell's going to be Knight of Ren, right?
I really want her to be a Knight of Ren.
Yeah,
Do you think
I'm just making sure.
not?
So the person who thinks Val is going to be Enfys Nest also thinks Kerry Russell's going to be Knight of Ren. I'm just saying, you know.
Can I ask
Maybe
you this?
I just want a woman to be a bad guy that's like a substantial bad guy.
I
Maybe
agree
that's
with
just
that.
what I want.
What do you think of
Ryan
Monahan
Johnson
and
will do
Smith?
that.
What?
The new castings.
Oh, Matt Smith. Matt Smith's definitely a bad guy.
Bad guy? Like
Yeah, he's
Terminator
too evil
Genesis?
Lacey, I
Bad
also
guy?
predicted when that ski speeder thing hits the ground, I was like, that's Finn learning how to fly something. Nailed
Which
it.
one?
When
The
that ski
ski
speeder on
speeder.
crate, like in the trailer, bounces on the ground.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, that's Finn.
We get it, John. You're good at predicting. We get it.
And I predicted yeah, that's it.
All right. Moving on to the next question. We got Mixter at Mixta110, and he asks
110.
Whatever. He asks, do you think Luke killed the Knights of Ren after they killed his Jedi students? James, I'm going to go to you on this one.
100% no. I don't even know. I love you, Mixter. You're awesome. Mixta, 110. You're great. Why the heck did you think this? Where's this even coming from?
Yeah, I don't know where this came from because they're not dead. They're just not around.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what though? It's an interesting question though. You have to admit that.
Where'd they go?
No one confirmed that they're still alive. He just said the only mention of them is that Kylo Ren is master of the Knights of Ren.
Yeah, and
That's
I
it.
get that, but he would have had to been master of the old master of the Knights of Ren or something.
No.
Wait,
No.
you only
I mean-
see them in the flashback.
No,
Exactly.
yeah, that's
Oh,
okay.
I didn't even think about that.
okay, but
Oh,
okay,
guys.
look. All right, so apparently John and Lacey think this is a great question. I'm
No,
just saying.
Yes, it is a great question. I don't think it may not necessarily be true. I just think it's a good question.
I think
Yeah,
the question just should have been, where do you think they went? Where are they?
No, so
Running a deli
okay,
somewhere.
okay. Even if you suppose that at the time of Force Awakens they were all killed or whatever, I don't understand why it would be Luke. Like Luke,
He fled, didn't he? He was like, I'm
yeah,
out.
like this whole thing happened, and he's like brokenhearted, and he's like, well, everything that I've ever done was stupid, and so he just kind of like left. There's no way he went looking for revenge and killed off the Knights of Ren. I mean, I don't know. Look, if they ever wrote that story, I think it would be cool, but at the same time, I would feel like it would conflict with the story that Rian Johnson was trying to tell of like why he is the way that he is and why he's so pacifist now, you know? Such a pacifist, I should say. But I don't know. It just doesn't seem to me like he would be someone that would go after those people to kill them. Especially if he was successful, he would still be trying to hunt down Ben. Because that guy's dark now. Too evil
I love
to be
that
saved.
You called him Ben.
Well, it's Ben to
Accept
him.
it.
I don't know that he calls him Kylo.
Yeah, I guess only Rey really calls him Kylo.
What if 6-year-old Rey, in a burst of force powerness, killed all the Knights of Ren? And then,
Oh, that would be
that's,
Ooh, that would be cool.
yeah.
I'd have to give it some thought if that actually lines up.
And that's why
somehow,
Kylo Ren's
but
like, what
it's
girl? You mean the girl
Yeah.
killed all my knights? That girl? I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Where
come
are
to-
they though? Like
I don't
we
think
have to have a
I don't think
a talk
Kylo
about
knows
this.
Rey though. I think people try to write that story, but I don't think it's there.
No, I know. Yeah, I mean, hopefully we find out where the Knights of Ren are, Lacey. I don't know. I want to find out.
All right, Lacey, can I ask you a question that Shannon Smith actually asked us?
Sure.
All right. Now, this is not just regular Shannon Smith. This is at Shannon Nick Smith who asked this, but they said, do you think we'll see any female characters getting standalones like Ahsoka?
This is a tough question because for the past, with the exception of Solo, so like for Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and Rogue One, the main character was a girl or was a woman.
Mhm.
So it's not like we're in lack of strong female characters in these movies. Do I think we'll get standalones? I think we will, but it won't be characters we've ever seen before. I don't think we're going to get an Ahsoka. I think it would be cool, but I don't think it's going to happen. That's my short answer.
Do you know I misread this question? Not like the words, but I misunderstood it. I thought it was saying, do you think we'll get any standalone like novels, such as, for example, the Ahsoka novel? Because there's clearly no Ahsoka movie.
Oh, no, I read it as movies.
No, I know.
I did too.
I think you could read it like that, but the way at the end of this question it says like Ahsoka, it seemed to me like that was the example. For example, Ahsoka, similar to Ahsoka.
Yeah,
that
I've
thing
never
you're
heard
familiar
anyone
with.
call a book a standalone. Just like,
no,
it's the
I know.
Phasma novel.
I know, but when you say like Ahsoka, I was like, well, the only thing that is a
Right.
standalone called Ahsoka is a book. So maybe
makes
they
sense.
mean.
The
But
only thing
either
is-
way, yeah.
The only thing is right now, all the standalones are the female characters. So you have Phasma, you have Ahsoka, you have Padme, you have Paige, and Rose Tico. Like, they're all female
And there's
characters.
books for all
plenty
of them,
that
yeah.
aren't, but
I agree.
too, but
I'm just saying, recent years, it's been a lot of female characters. I'd love to see more of that. I just don't know who
Yeah.
it would be. And I know people have their own ideas, but...
yeah, for sure.
All right. Next question
Ray
is from
Sloan.
David Visa at Visa_David. And he says, do you think the color of Rey's new lightsaber will be revealed in the first episode 9 teaser trailer? Or do you think they'll save it for a later trailer or even the film itself? John, what do you think?
Okay, so that's a tricky one. As a reveal in the movie would be very built up and a big surprise and a cool reveal. Because it's been a hot topic already about what color saber, what kind of saber, kyber crystal, double crystal, saber, staff, blah, blah, blah. But for the sake of, and I hate being this jaded, but for the sake of merchandising and perhaps even the sake of not letting fans run too wild with our saber theories, which we already are. I think we had an episode where we talked about lightsaber. I think we'll see it before the movie comes out. They'll squash that. They've already been pretty candid about some stuff in this movie. Like, they could have hidden Luke from us if they wanted to. They were like, nope, Hamill's back, Luke's back. There you go. You have that.
Lando's back. Yeah.
Lando's back. Yep. I actually would be pleasantly surprised, and I think it'd be a smart move if the saber makes its first appearance in the Celebration trailer next April, followed by a lightsaber merchandise announcement. You can buy Rey's lightsaber on Monday at Celebration, so James can buy lightsabers for the three of us, and then he can ship ours to us.
I could totally see it be a moment, which I know we said we were saving this moment for like a Leia moment, because we've had Han in the first one, Luke in the second one, Leia in the third at the end.
Yeah.
But I think you could totally see Rey lighting this up in the first few seconds. So in the teasers where they've had the breathing with John and then the breathing with Daisy, I think in the last one you could see her like breathing hard and then light up her saber, and then it cuts to the Lucasfilm logo. Like, that would be
That'd
awesome.
be really cool. Just get it right out of the way. Just boom. Yeah, hell yeah. I'm all for that.
John, I think you're exactly right. It's those toy leaks, man. Toy leaks. You can't.
Oh, they totally are the worst.
You can't hide a reveal like that when you know that your first wave of toys is going to have to be those lightsabers, whatever her new one looks like, because she likely will have a new hilt, and whatever the color is, because it'll, it'll obviously have to, like, the telescoping lightsabers that you just throw and they pop out, like those are going to get leaked so fast. So, if there's important information with them.
Yeah, I bet if it's a saber staff, I bet it comes in two pieces, and you have to, because the box is like, I have the Kylo one. It's huge. There's no way they could put that in a box.
All right,
Okay,
one more?
One more? Yeah, definitely. Okay, so Noah Korth at Noah's_Arc02 asks, what type of planet would you like to see explored in future movies? I would love to see a jungle planet similar to the bioluminescent, God, big words, guys. Jungle planet trailer in Avatar.
Sound it out, Lacey. I'm just kidding.
6 friggin' syllables.
Yeah, well, I know it is.
Bioluminescent.
Yeah.
There you go. You got it. First of all, that planet is awesome. Second of all, aren't they in a jungle planet from what we've seen, like little snippets?
That could be. This also kind of reminded me of Felucia as well, too, which is kind of a bioluminescent, foresty kind of planet as well, which we have seen in the movies. So
no snow planets, no desert planets. Get out of here, Star Wars.
Yeah, although we've talked about the science of snow planets and desert planets before.
Wait a minute,
Lacey?
now. So what do you guys? What are your quick picks then?
Naboo.
Oh, so you're just saying you're naming a specific planet, not a type of planet.
Type of planet? Ocean planet would be cool.
You took mine.
That was going to be one of the ones I was thinking of too. But
all right,
guys, I thought about this, and I know you're shocker. I think about things sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, Mwah.
At least you can read. I can't say bioluminescent.
How about something that doesn't look like it's on Earth? Like we have our, I love Tatooine and Jakku, but it's an Earth desert. I love Endor, but it's Northern California. I love Vandor, but it's mountains in Italy. I mean, I think that like one thing George Lucas did really well in the prequels was create planets that doesn't feel like it's on Earth. And if they can give us that, because we haven't really had that in the sequel trilogy, it's all been like, that looks like it's in a rainforest in Brazil, or that looks like, Croatia, because it was on Croatia.
Whereas Avatar doesn't look like anything from this world.
Yeah, so I think if they went a little CGI and tried to make some kind of a cool, weird planet, that'd be refreshing for this trilogy, because we haven't had it yet.
You know what actually would be interesting too, and I totally agree with that. Like if you go to Jupiter, it doesn't look like the Sahara Desert. You know what I mean? There's obviously like a different landscape there. But what I think would be kind of cool, and this would be weird, but maybe kind of similar to Mad Max or something, where you have a atmosphere that kind of projects a different light. So like when you're on that planet, there's like a definite red or blue tint to all of the scenes, because that's just how that planet works. Whereas like all the planets in Star Wars always seem to be the same type of atmosphere as Earth, so like the colors are similar. You know what I mean? Or like the I don't know, the cast or the temperature of the setting. But anyway, yeah, I think that would be probably the most interesting, in my opinion. Are there any more questions, Lacey?
Nope, that's it. That's all we got. Thanks for your questions, guys. If you want to be on the show, ask your questions with hashtag #AskTheResistance and not with big words. And back to you, John.
Yeah, and for those of you who are timid about sending us on Twitter, you can email them to us at resistancebroadcast@gmail.com. And I think we have an Instagram too, right, James?
We do have an Instagram if you want to get over there. It's hard to post pictures, though, because I could post all the same pictures that everybody else posts in the world. But I don't know. I want to come up with some original content. No, but you can always hit me up. It's probably the easiest way to get directly to me besides my personal.
Are you doing your social post right now? Your plug?
You can find me at Twitter and Instagram at Myra Trunks.
Okay. All right. So that's James' plug. Might as well get our plugs out of the way.
It took me a second to even realize what you were saying. I'm like, what am I doing? My Twitter. He must be talking to Lacey. And then
you literally said that's the easiest way to get a hold of me. I'm like, is he doing his plugs right now? And you just did, so good for you.
I think it's important that people come to our Instagram, follow us, and leave a comment, and it'll go right to me.
Oh, our Instagram. Oh, I see. Okay, because you said me, so I thought you meant Myra Trunks.
Well, it's the easiest way to get a hold of, I guess I did say me, but I should have said us. Like, it's like, boom, it pops up.
So confusing.
All right, well. I know you guys don't get the Instagram notifications like this.
I don't even know what an Instagram is. I think you just made that term up. There's going to be a planet in episode 9 called Instagram. I guarantee it. You guys can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey and over at StarWarsNewsNet.com every week, writing, all that stuff. Lacey, what about you?
People can find me on Twitter at Lacey Gillerin, talking about Star Wars, retweeting about Star Wars, everything about Star Wars. I figured out that over the weekend, I took a bunch of pictures with this Kylo Ren, and I was like, oh, every day I'm taking a bunch of pictures, and it ended up to be the same guy. So whoever that guy is, I apologize, because every time I kept being like, can I get a picture with you? And he'd kind of laugh, and I thought he was like just being enthusiastic, but he's probably like, this dumb girl has taken at least 20 photos with me. So I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, because it was awesome.
Sorry, not sorry.
So you guys, as you're listening to this, make sure you are subscribed on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube to the podcast. Also, we still have through September the hashtag Rate the Resistance little contest going on, where all you have to do if you're an iTunes user, go to our iTunes page, rate us 5 stars, take a screenshot of your rating and review, and send it to us. And you'll be entered to win one of our t-shirts of your choice for free. Whoa. Also, speaking of our t-shirts, tpublic.com/user/resistance broadcasts. Currently the only way to help fund our show, so we appreciate it. Get some swag and help us out. Very cool. That about wraps it up for us. Of course, always go to StarWarsNewsNet.com for your latest news, editorials, articles, information, all that good stuff. And we will be back with you guys on Thursday, and Lacey's coming back again. She's going to go for a 2-for-2 streak here, folks. We're setting records and breaking hearts, one podcast episode at a time.
Oh my God.
Except that
Wait,
Kylo Ren guy
who got hearts.
Because you left Rose City and Kylo Ren guy's all alone now.
I know.
He has to take pictures by himself.
What's your name?
He's like, I'm legally changing my name to Kylo Ren. Anyway, guys, if you're still listening right now, we'll see you on Thursday, where we're going to discuss some crazy stuff. We're going to be discussing on Thursday. So make sure you enjoy your week, and we'll see you guys Thursday morning right here on the Resistance broadcast. We'll see you around, kids.